Anime and gang violence. Okay, so this is going to be a multi-dimensional video about me, Alberto, and what I learned about the voice acting industry as a whole. And what I love about this topic is that this is really how I figured out about Christopher Sabat and Sean's past about being former gang members before we created Dragon Ball Z. You have to understand, so one thing I have to go into is that rape has been a big part of my life, and I wanted this story, Lily, this is how you figure out about life. And Lily, so let me tell you about Lily. Mohara, and a big part about last year is I watched a hentai anime last year where action and ecchi content, and it was hella dope. It was like the twin sisters or some shit. It was fucking beautiful. Lily, fucking the gang was fucking Lily stalking me and shit, and I was watching the fucking show, and her teens were hanging out, and I was waiting for some action scenes and shit. And we got on the stairs, they're like, "What is he doing? What is he watching this for?" It's her teens don't hell know what to do. I'm like, Lily, I'm like, shut your fucking trap, Lily. I looked at them. Lily, they were talking to me through a fucking droid. I'm like, dude, if I wanted to fucking be excited about some titties, I would just watch regular porn. The anime was fucking fire and shit, Lily. And around that time is when I found Mohara. And you know what's actually crazy about that is there's a thing called the Lost in Universe. And so you can create a diary out of the Lost in Universe. They're just little pieces of like treasures you figure out like Lily are laying around. So Lily, what is crazy about this is Mohara, Lily, is symbolism for my love for multi-syllable words like Mohara, Gabaya. These are symbolism for how much they tried to keep a certain Afghan girl away from me, hence her nationality. And it was Lily, every foreshadowing of her ending, and Lily, it's crazy. And she has a girl named Ira, you know, who looks just like Yumi, you know, so we're going around town. So Lily, she has a hot friend named Ira, a skinny Asian girl. So when you figure out all these things, like Lily, when you put pieces together, Lily, you can really create a diary out of this. This is what makes art fun. So this has a lot to do with, you know, a lot of the gang member violence that I've figured out like throughout the times, because Lily, the whole reason why I got kicked out of that mall, metaphorically speaking, I basically run that mall. But the reason why I had to let it go was because of the way things were going. Because of Lily, fucking Lily, I'm pulling girl after girl there, but at the end of the day, fucking Lily, I have girls who work there still, so you're dealing with gang bullshit. You can't Lily fucking give them the one thing that keeps them egging on and shit. But what if I told you the reason why it's bullshit is because they're suffering right now, how they felt inside because they got there for abusing a whole lot of fucking women, Lily having a reputation, Lily getting there Uncle Tommy way, Lily doing out-of-pocket shit in order to fit in. What if I told you it's about voice acting in general? I was very hot to do this video because ever since I became a voice actor, I learned a lot about gang violence. I also learned about anime techniques as a whole. Ever since I learned how to dodge a bullet, I recognized that I was in the new anime world. It was crazy as hell because really I started training with Sean, I started training with Chris, I started training all my girls how to fight, and I ended up bringing something new to the table because I watch all animes, because the only thing Chris knows how to do, from my knowledge, is manipulate light and manipulate, you know, force. Literally being able to control weight and shifts of time when you get close to him. That's the sign of an advanced fighter. I don't know how to do that per se, but I can self-defend in the form of the after image. But I trained myself. It was pretty crazy because we were really practicing for Fan Nation. Lily, we have several custom chips that we're gonna upload. It came down to a time where I'm getting to know all the mainstream rappers, and they end up all eyeing Lamaya, especially Common. So it was crazy as hell. So what ended up happening is I put in the work of the older generation. I'll have to wear a gas left and think I'm kind of like SpongeBob, like I don't know how to fight. But then they end up realizing that they're actually dealing with somebody who pushes weight. It's crazy as hell. Because the very first thing you try to do was separate me from the red bone first thing. Remember, in order to do the after image, you and the other person have to be into the same thing. Because if you're trying to like Lily fucking fool a rapper by pretending to be like Lily somebody from Dungeons and Dragons, he's not gonna be fooled. But if you weave your neck or some ring, pretend it's your chain, they're not gonna know what the fuck you're gonna do, and you're gonna swing that way. Oh, literally, so fucking he tried to do the after image to me over and over again. I'm like, oh no, I'm not into that. Try Star Trek. And so he puts his hand out and the room turns into black and white, and I'm seeing all the spaceship. I'm like, this is really nice. So you're our common sense. Then he finally gets close to me, but then I get my fight stance, and then all of a sudden he realizes I know martial arts. I was playing with him the whole time. He got close to me, I put my foot down and stopped and got my stance. He's like, oh shit, Lily broke his spell. And I knocked him out. That shit was hella funny. But you have to understand, Lily, that's just a part of it. So that's Lily fucking one of the anime fights I had. Lily, I had another anime fight with fucking Laughing Stock Media and Rihanna, and Zero, and everybody else had an anime fight with Christopher Sabat. So it came down to a voice actor, Lightning and Thunder from Teen Titans, literally also have a rape on the record, literally so many people, but the biggest one was Terra Song. The one who knows how to do voodoo, the one who knows how to do everything is Terra Song. The one who didn't want to grow up first. He was the big trilogy. There was no bigger, track record than Terra Song, Sean Shambo, and Christopher Sabat. They are the worst of the worst, and they are a master of all martial arts, and they're crazy as shit. That's where it came down to it. I realized that rape was a part of the voice acting community in general. Like the voice actor Jesse from Pokemon when he first got introduced. If you don't know, Lily, I come from the hood, but I know, Lily, I come from the hood where I don't join a gang, where I observe everything that happens in the hood. What happened is, Lily, most of the voice actors, they're in the hood, they dropped out and they joined a gang. Especially a voice actor Jesse. So when you're in a gang, it doesn't matter if you're a boy or a guy. You rape girls all the time. If you're a girl, you rape girls. If you're a guy, you rape girls. It's crazy. So it came down to a voice actor of Jesse from Pokemon. It was crazy because I'm seeing all this happening at once. Every fucking time, Lily, a girl comes in and she thinks she can take me because he knows martial arts, but I'm different. Lily, what they do is Lily, they try to knock out people in the room, but they end up running into people like rare model, like advanced people, especially platinum boys. Lily, like, hold up, what do you think you're doing? They try to do tricks, they try everything. If you need to know, Lily, you have to understand that you can almost do every single anime trick, but you have to be approved by somebody by Funimation. Like the Spire Strings trick that gangsters use. There's a trick that's used by Blood Teddy that you can look up online, but it's not useful because there are too many dark gang members in the streets. And Lily, in order to do it, you have to have a certain, knowledge of the human anatomy, which, you'll be conditioned by then. Is based off the Godfather. It came before anime. You know those strings users in Naruto that they have the strings that can cut you? The Godfather already did that first. What they do is he controls his fucking fingers and his fire motion. You know how Doflamingo controls the strings? And you control somebody's blood vessels and shit like that, Lily. But you can only do it for a temporary time. It takes a lot of energy in real life. They're already doing anime fights in the streets, and that's actually where it originated from. But it was, defined in Japan as, being a part of martial arts. After Image was a part of, martial arts in general. But what gangsters did, they took the After Image and they applied media to it. Like, literally, people would pretend to be Jabba the Hutt in, prison and stuff. That they would manipulate light and they would manipulate your perception and create imagery instead of using it for pure self-defense. So imagine you're on your way, you're getting chased by a cop, and you do the After Image. Literally, you pretend to be somebody else's car and shit. Literally, that's crazy. That's anime shit, but that's actual shit that people do in real life. Comes from the origin of shutting the block off and making sure you have more guns than the police. So it's not really anime strategy in terms of thinking, but literally, if you learn a whole lot about screenwriting, that you can turn that street fight into an anime fight scene, and that's what I'm doing in Nons, especially with Silent J. This is the video where I talk about black tea users and Nons. So Tito wears a black tee, Boomer wears a black tee, various people wear black tees and Nons, and Lily. So when people wear black tees and Nons, it means they're going second gear. It's a street form of Super Saiyan. Like Lily, they don't really have the nowhere attire for every occasion, but where it comes down to this, they get serious. Boomer and Tito really will make you jealous as soon as they bring the black tee out. And black tees are normally worn by gang members as a symbol as I don't give a fuck about society. This is all I have to wear in order to please a girl. This is some Jordans, Lily. The first time I went homeless, I bought a whole case of white tees. And then literally, the voice of Yugi Moto is in my head. He's like, "No, you don't. They're importance of white tees." It's crazy because certain female voice actors feel like they can come up in the scene and just rape anybody. So a voice actor of Jessie Lily made the room turn dark. The very first thing she turned in, she's looking at everybody. She's like, "Oh, these are nice pickings." What ends up happening is literally there are levels to this shit because I'm super OG advanced gangster, but what makes me crazy is I'm not into hip hop, I'm not into gangster shit. So that at the Image, there are some people who may be able to catch even Christopher Sabat off guard because he's in the same thing, but because I'm not, I'm kind of like the chosen one. So the voice actor is Jessie is in handcuffs and Lily in her mind because there are certain sequences where you can get in and out of prison, but Lily, when you do it a lot, Lily, you're first down to Lily some of the common denominators, and when you're being chased down by some Lily, one of the strongest anime fans like Brianna, Spice, everybody, Lily. So Jessie got down their stance. Lily, all she is a dark room, the flashlight with her handcuffed, or her Lily being ambient, or her thinking to herself, her eyes closed. Yes, I already know what to do for now. It's time for the last resort. The final act is gathering in prison. As he thinks he's about to hightail out of there, like, I've been through this one before. Eyes closed, handcuffed, the 7/10 foot. But then she ends up getting tagged by one of my girls. Why? Because we're not into the same thing. It's very crazy and real. From Space City to the After, it was Flutterbations to shit.